Hello everyone, I'm here with Nigel Sizer. He's a Chief Program Officer for Rainforest Alliance, and we're here at the Global Landscape Forum in Nairobi to talk about landscape restoration. Thank you, Nigel.
Thank you, it's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. So the Rainforest Alliance is playing a major role across the world in landscape restoration. Can you tell us a bit more why you're here and your organization?
Yes, well, first, congratulations on a fantastic event. It's really great to have hundreds of people coming from all over Africa to be here together in Nairobi. So it's really well done bringing us all together. Our work is primarily around supply chains and certification and sustainable commodities, and working with smallholders across landscapes to help them become more sustainable. So here in Africa, that's a really big deal. We're currently working with literally hundreds of thousands of poor cocoa farmers in West Africa, Ivory Coast and Ghana especially, with about 600,000 tea smallholders here in Kenya in partnership with the Kenya Tea Development Agency, and in Southern Africa also with tea farmers, particularly in Malawi and South Africa, and with coffee farmers in Uganda, Ethiopia, here in Kenya, and elsewhere as well. We're also working with local communities on forest management and community-based forest management. All of this connects into the global markets, and we use those markets and the resources that flow through those supply chains to the smallholders to help drive more sustainable landscape management. So what we're really seeing on the ground, what you see concretely, is cocoa farmers and coffee farmers, for example, planting trees much more on their farms, so they've got shade-grown cocoa and coffee. So this is already achieving regreening of these landscapes across hundreds of thousands of hectares of farmland in Africa, with very little financial input from anyone other than the market itself. So we're training the farmers and connecting them with these markets, and then we start to see regreening of these landscapes. So I think it's a very, very important part that's often missing actually in the discussions about forest and landscape restoration opportunities here in Africa and around the world.
And what are the challenges in getting farmers to do that, in training them to think differently about the way they do what they know how to do best?
Yeah, it's not easy to do this, and I hope I'm not making it sound too easy. One challenge is getting the market itself, the companies that buy these products and the retailers that sell them, particularly in Europe and North America, to recognize the value of more sustainable production and hopefully pay a higher price for these products. And then those benefits and incentives can flow back down through the supply chain to the small farmers themselves. At the other end of the supply chain with the farmers, a real ongoing challenge is engaging more effectively with the poorest of the farmers, and particularly with female farmers. So about 26-27% of households in Africa are women-led. And so many farms and farming families are actually led and run by women. But they struggle, and there's a lot of barriers to them becoming as effective as farmers as the men. So this is another challenge that we're trying to work to improve through our programs.
Okay, and what about consumers? What is kind of the climate on the consumer market for buying these products? Because we see a lot of organic, sustainable, fair trade.
Yeah.
What are the prospects for that? Is the market going to grow, or?
So the market demand and consumer interest in this has been growing steadily for decades and continues to grow. We've seen tremendous growth, for example, in our labeling of certified tea, coffee, chocolate products with cocoa, and increasingly bananas. We're one of the largest certifiers of bananas. Most of that's coming from Latin America. So you'll see bananas with the Rainforest Alliance seal on them all over Europe and North America now. The challenge is that while consumers want to support sustainability, they don't necessarily want to pay more for it.
Exactly.
And another part of that is that a lot of those consumers can't pay more for it because they're actually quite poor themselves, right? There's not only poverty here in Africa, there's also literally tens of millions of people living below the poverty line in the United States and in Europe. So we need to find a way to be getting these products to them at an affordable price that is also sustainable and that is generating an incentive for the farmers. And that's a pretty tricky mix to get right. But I think we are making good progress with that.
What would be the next steps to do that?
So next steps include much more awareness raising with consumers so that they understand the benefits of buying certified and sustainable products. Working with the farmers and with the supply chains and the traders and companies in those supply chains to try to get a larger share of the price of these products into the hands of the farmers. Making sure that when consumers or retailers are paying a premium, a slightly higher price for a certified product, that premium actually gets to the farmer and they really receive the benefit of that. Another challenge with this that's really important and is a big topic here at the forum here in Nairobi this week is how do we go from the supply chains and the individual farms to the wider landscape, to the forest reserves, to restoration of key vulnerable areas across those landscapes, to engagement with people and communities and policymakers across those landscapes to achieve wider benefits for biodiversity, for climate, for water services and so on, which is great for the farmers and really great for all of us globally as well.
And are you thinking of extending, right now you're working with cocoa, tea, coffee, bananas. What else is on the list to come?
Rubber. There's a lot of interest in the market in rubber, and there's quite a lot of deforestation and poverty associated with rubber cultivation. We see that particularly in this continent, in West Africa. It's a bigger issue in Southeast Asia. Forest products themselves, so wood and non-timber forest products, we've worked for many years with the Forest Stewardship Council program to help communities get certified selling those products. We see a lot more potential for community-based forest management and work with traditional and local communities, particularly in Central and West Africa, to help them connect with those global supply chains. And as they're given the rights and responsibility to manage forests themselves, finally, which is really great for those communities and for the forests, it's then really key to help them develop sustainable enterprises based on those resources so they really want to keep the forest and not sell out to other interests.
Okay, that sounds great. And you're having a discussion forum this afternoon at the GLF. What will be the highlights of the discussion? What can we look forward to?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I know you're going to record it and it'll be on your website in a few days, so I hope everyone will take a look at that. We've got some of our colleagues and partners from Ivory Coast, Ghana, Kenya here, and also Malawi, talking about our work and experience with supply chains and farmers on a large scale with cocoa, tea and coffee across these different landscapes. What are we learning from it? How we see it contributing to restoration of forests and landscapes, and some of the challenges and opportunities we see going forward. So we really hope to hear from people who watch it online. Please get in touch with us, send us your ideas. We're looking for new partners, new opportunities, so let us know.
Awesome. And you're also going to be part of the gender plenary,
yes,
which is a quite interesting lineup of people from communities and leaders on that.
Yes.
So you mentioned there are a lot of women farmers that are confronting challenges in making a livelihood. How do you see bridging the gap? How do we bridge the gap with women in agriculture and securing their livelihoods?
Well, first, just to give it a little bit of context why this is so important. So as I said, nearly 30% of households in Africa are led by women. That's due to a lot of male migration to cities and beyond. Also, unfortunately, a lot of high HIV incidence, which has led to female-led households as well. And what we see is that those female farmers, their overall levels of productivity are often about 1/3 less, according to World Bank and FAO statistics, 1/3 less than male-led farms. So why is this? It's because the female farmers don't have such good access to financing, to other inputs like fertilizers and chemicals, and perhaps most interestingly to the training and technical support, which is all pretty much geared to what male farmers traditionally want and benefit from. Women farm differently from men. They often grow different crops from men. They work on a different timetable. They have other responsibilities with the children. They often don't own the land that they're farming on. So the training programs need to be tailored to women's needs if they're going to benefit. And what this could translate into, if we can achieve increases in productivity of female-led farms, getting them up close to male-led farms, it would be the equivalent of lifting 150 million people out of hunger and extreme poverty around the world. Another really key aspect is child labour. So the rights of the child and the rights of women are very closely interconnected, and child labour is a very significant phenomenon across many African countries and many other parts of the world. And when girls enter labour, it's a little different from when boys enter child labour. And so you need slightly different types of programs and efforts to engage with women around girl child labour versus boy child labour. So there's a lot still to be done on this, and I think it really starts at home. I think all our organisations, including our own, and we've worked on this, but we all need to do more, need to make sure that our teams, that our staff really understand this, understand the data and the statistics behind this, the basic human rights and legal aspects that are tied to this actually, and we build our programs to really reinforce and address these issues, and the benefits will be enormous if we succeed in doing that.
And we're talking a lot about success stories here at the forum this year.
Yes.
I'm wondering, with respect to gender issues, are you seeing any progress on anything you mentioned so far? Is there anything we can learn from and scale up, or do we have a long way to go?
Well, if you go on our website, rainforestalliance.org, you can see some wonderful stories, pictures and videos and so on, including from women farmers that we've been working with in Africa, talking about how increased productivity and increased income has allowed them to put their kids in school or even send them off to college, how opportunities for them to take up leadership roles in the communities has really led to a lot of benefits. So have a look at our website and you can see a lot more there about some of the stories that we've been very proud to be part of.
That sounds great. We'll definitely take a look. We're looking forward to the discussion forum and your input on the gender plenary. It's been a pleasure to have you, and I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the day at the GLF. Thank you, Nigel.
Thank you, Alex. It's great to be here. Bye-bye.